We are starting our coverage of the 2025 volleyball season, college volleyball here on Midwest Sports Net, and I can think of no better place to start than Jamestown, North Dakota, to get to visit a friend of the channel and Coach Jon Hegerle. I'm excited to get to visit with you today, sir. It's a privilege to have you back on the Midwest Sports Net channel as well. It's off season right now, but I have to ask you that: is that really a thing?
It's not. It's where it's always recruiting season. It's always training season. It just depends on how many hours you get in the gym.
Well, listen, there's a lot to talk about then, NAIA and NCAA. So let's start with the NAIA really quickly. You all are in the middle of a transition from one national affiliation to another. Let's go back to 2024 final season, really competing with the NAIA schedule there. 19-0 to start the season, 3-3 to end the season. A couple of upsets in your postseason run or attempt at a run there, Coach. Talk about the year for us.
First of all, we had a veteran team. We actually ended up losing 9 players after the season. We had a redshirted junior or redshirted senior who is an engineer that decided she wanted to focus on her engineering, which was great. And so we had a veteran group. We had started the season actually before the season. We took a trip to Europe with Bring It Promotions, and we went to Austria and Slovenia and Croatia and Italy, and had just a tremendous trip there. And so that was 10 days. And then, a week after that, we started our preseason. You're right. We're in transition here. And for the first time ever, the NCAA allowed a school to apply to expedite the transition process. And so we did that a year ago. And we found out in July that we had been accepted. And that's wonderful. But one of the challenges then is last year, we had to abide by both NAIA and NCAA rules. And so because of that, like I shared earlier, in the NAIA, we can start competitions in mid-August. NCAA didn't allow competitions till the first week of September. And so we actually had to cancel our first 4 matches at a tournament in Bellevue. And so we lost a weekend there, and then we got some exemptions to continue to play the rest of our season. So it was a little bit of a challenge trying to navigate that and figuring out, wait a minute, cancel hotels and those types of things. But we started out really well, played a lot of really good teams, and as you shared, 19-0. And so that was good. And then we went to Bellevue, and as I say to people, we kind of got our faces kicked in by a really good team that was really hungry to play against us. And
that's a tough place to play a match, Coach.
Oh, it is a tough place. And, and Trish Sedlick down there, she always has her team ready to roll, and they really played extremely well. And then we never figured out really how to right the ship after that. It wasn't for lack of effort from both our players and our coaching staff, but you had shared, we got upset our last 2 matches, both in 5. And the last one we were reverse swept at home in the opening round. And we haven't been in that territory before. And so that was a little humble pie. I feel really bad for our seniors. We had a great group of seniors, and that's not the way they anticipated ending their careers. And so that was difficult, and still is difficult, I'm sure, for them. But as Hugh McCutcheon always says, losing is an occupational hazard of being a coach. And so sometimes that stuff happens, despite how well you coach and how well you play.
Doesn't make it any more fun, though.
No, it doesn't.
You mentioned a team with many upperclassmen too. We'll talk about that in a moment. But one of those, grad student Ellie Holen, and we've talked about her many times here on this channel. You and I visited about her before as well. And the honors just continue to come in for her, as she was named the NAIA Defender of the Year for the 3rd consecutive year. 5.83 digs per set. That's a very solid number right there. And she finishes her career just shy of 3,000 for a career. So an incredible opportunity and time that she had there at Jamestown.
Yeah, and she just comes from a great family, and we've had a lot of Jimmies, and only 2 played volleyball, but they were the last 2, and they certainly left their mark on here, both on our team and our program and the community, both Anna and Ellie. Ellie, she just is incredibly talented, athletically and in being a teammate. And she's substitute teaching right now in Fargo, and I just got to see her last week, at the end of last week, and got to talk with her. And boy, does she miss playing volleyball. She said, "I'd keep doing it if I could, coach." And I said, "Well, we'd continue to have you if you could." But man, she made a lot of difficult things look really easy. And you just, at some point, you end up taking her for granted, and until she's gone, and then you realize some of the stuff that she did and how she played the game at such a high level. And so that's certainly one of our top priorities, is to replace her and find a replacement for her. And we also lost 2 other players that were our primary passers along with her for the last 3 years. So now we're a little bit concerned about our ball handling and our first ball contact. And so that's one of our focuses this spring, certainly.
We're visiting now with Coach Jon Hegerle from Jamestown. The Jimmies, just a fantastic volleyball program. Coach, let's go ahead and go into that. Let me ask you that next then, as we look at the season ahead. Again, upperclassmen, the roster on site at the end of the season had 8 of your 13 players, and you were talking about 9 that have moved on, but 8 of 13 players with senior or grad student. That's a lot to try to make up for in any situation, much less in the middle of a transition right now as well. Talk a little bit about the roster as it looks now and what you're looking at for 2025.
Yeah, some people would call that poor planning, Joey, as far as the coaching goes, and how in the world do you get that many? But with some injuries and with a COVID year and those types of things, in a transfer, it all kind of came together like that. And so they certainly left a mark, and there's a void. When we started this season this spring, there certainly was a void of some leadership and some other roles on the team. And so one of our goals is just to redefine who we are as a program with the players that we have coming in. And we have 3 starters back from last year's season. We have Lily Birch, who will be our lone senior next year. She's a setter, and she's set for the last 2 years. And so we're counting on her to step up, and she certainly is. And then we have 2 sophomores. That one was an outside hitter, Gracie Adamson from Brookings, South Dakota, and the other one is a middle who ended up being an honorable mention All-American for us, Charlotte Lemke from Alexandria, Minnesota. And so we have those 3 starters back. And so then we just got to kind of build around it. And, certainly we've recognized the need to kind of fill in some of those spots with some veteran players. So we do have 3 players coming. 2 are here this semester. 1 will be coming next fall. 2 are junior college transfers, and 1's a transfer from a 4-year program. Corbin Menz is the one from the 4-year program, who's transferred from Northern State University. She's an outside hitter from Delano, Minnesota. She'll be a junior next year. And then Addison Brook is a middle blocker from Hillsborough Community College down in Florida. And she's from Orlando, Florida. So she moved up here in January and has enjoyed the climate change. At least she says she's still really excited when we get snow, but the cold is starting to beat her down a little bit. And then we have a libero coming from, she was at New Mexico Military Institute, and she's from Japan, Tokyo, Japan. Her name is Momo, and so she'll be joining us in the fall. And we feel good about that because all 3 of them fill some holes and some needs that we think we needed to fill. And then just our players that were with our program have really stepped it up. We had some training today, and I said to the players, man, I'm really impressed with the progress our players are making. And some of those players have been playing JV for a couple of years and are waiting their turn now, and this ends up being their turn. And so there's a lot of hunger in the gym, and so far I've really enjoyed the spring.
Well, Coach, it is a time of transition, again, moving from one national affiliation to another. And so the schedule it's an NCAA Division II schedule next year. And from my experience where I am and seeing the Central region up close, although not the Northern Sun Conference as up close, but both of those 2. I mean, the Northern Sun Conference, which is what you'll be a member of, and then the Central region itself. Those are 2 brutal places to try to compete in volleyball. So good luck, Coach. Talk a little bit about making the move just right in there.
That obviously that's going to be a steep hill to climb. We've got a lot of storied programs in not just our conference, but in the region. that have, perennially been powerhouses in Division II, and the road to the national tournament is different in Division II. It's a little bit more difficult to make it to the regionals and then to make it out of the regionals. And so we were aware of that going in, and we've been a little bit spoiled. I think we've made the last 9 or 10 years in a row we've gone to nationals, and so it's an exciting thing. Next year we're not eligible for playoffs. That's part of the transition period in the process. In 2026 we will be eligible. So we're kind of calling next year our exhibition year, since we're not able to do that. But we're looking forward to maybe some new rivalries. In the conference, it's not a true double round robin. There's just not enough dates. And so you play 5 teams twice. And the teams that we played twice are St. Cloud State, which I think was number 2 at the end of the season last year, and Concordia St. Paul, which was in the top 10, and then Northern State, which was 15 or 16, and then Mankato and Winona State, who were at some point receiving votes. And so we know that we have some stiff competition, and that's okay. We're excited about that, and we always say we want to play the best, and we want to compete against the best. And so it's going to be a challenge for our team and our program to figure that out. It's staying in new hotels, playing in new gyms, playing, with different rules. That's probably going to be the one, Joey, that's going to be the hardest for us. Is in NAIA, we always had unlimited subs.
That's what I was going to ask a while ago when you were talking about saying that you had both of them at once. Did you get the NAIA unlimited subs, or did you have to, constrain yourself?
Last year we were able to have the unlimited subs, but this year we're not going to be able to. And so just figuring out those, and some people don't think that's a big deal, but it's a huge deal in how we've been operating our systems for the last 15, 16 years since I've been here. So we're just going to have to get used to a lot of things. We know that there's going to be some growing pains along the way and some bumps. I mean, it's such a great conference in the volleyball side of things. And it's funny because I might know those coaches as well, maybe even better than a number of the NAIA coaches, because those are the coaches I see out recruiting all the time. Those are the coaches, some of them I grew up playing volleyball with, and so I know them quite well, and that'll be fun to be part of that. And then we do have a lot of Minnesota flavor on our team, and it'll be nice to be able to actually play matches in Minnesota, because there's no NAIA teams in Minnesota anymore.
Well, Coach, before we look ahead too much further, and I want to wrap up with that in a moment, but I'd love to hear your perspective. If you look back on last season, again, all that experience, all those players that you had for some of them for longer than others, but the season as a whole, I'm sure you have come away with fond memories. Anything stand out to you?
Just the relationships with those players. A lot of those were on our national championship team and have been with us for a while. And just the amount of experiences we've had, not really in just the gym, but in the buses, in the hotels, in the VRBOs when we take our preseason trips. And, I think as I look at the program, one of the things that we focus on is when a player leaves our program, are they a significantly better person because of their experiences in our program? And a lot of that happens with relationships. I firmly believe that our number one asset, the reason God created us, is for the impact we'll have on other people. It's not for the impact we'll have on ourselves. It's for the impact we have on other people. And so we always say we need to be keenly aware of the impact we are having on people. And, are we using the gifts God gave us in a way that's going to bring out the best in others and help, sharpen them and help maybe be a springboard into their purpose and what they're going to be doing after volleyball, because volleyball doesn't last forever. With that group, I certainly would have loved to have gone to Sioux City and made a run again. But as a recruit's dad shared with me, it's not what when things happen to you, they don't happen to you, they happen for you. And so we know that whatever happens, it happens for us. There's something that we're going to really grow out of that, and we're going to learn out of that, and we're going to become out of that. And so some of those players won't understand that maybe right now, but they'll understand it later, and it'll be pretty neat to see how that manifests itself in the future. And with this with this challenge ahead of us, it's going to be great. It's something I kind of needed to get my blood going again and get my competitive juices going. And so we have a great coaching staff that makes my job a lot easier. Just a lot of experience on my coaching staff. And so we're excited about moving forward and recruiting and seeing who, just, at the end of the day, it's who does God want to be in our program? Who does he want to be here? And if he wants someone to be here, they're going to be here. And if he doesn't, they won't be. And so we don't get too bent out of shape in the recruiting process. We certainly work hard at it. But we're just excited for the level and excited to see how that helps us grow as a program.
Well, as you mentioned, it's going to be fun, challenging. You get started with a couple of pre-conference tournaments on the road. You get to go to Tennessee, you get to go to Colorado, and then that Northern Sun conference schedule kicks in. How about Concordia St. Paul to really get things going? So, Coach, tell us a little bit about the schedule for 25.
Yeah, we're heading to Nashville for our first preseason tournament to Trevecca College down there, and we'll play 3 or 4 matches there, and then we go to Colorado Springs, and 2 places we haven't been. We always like to go to different places and see different areas of the country, and fortunately, just through some fundraising efforts, we're able to do some of those types of things. So we want to continue to do that if possible, and our administration and our school supports that. So we're excited about that, and then we jump right into the NSIC. It's no easing in. We're going to play at Concordia St. Paul, and certainly, arguably, maybe not arguably, the most successful program in the last 20 years of Division II. I think they might have 9 or 10 national championships, and they actually have a player that's from Jamestown on their team that was the freshman of the year this year in the NSIC, and her name is McKenna Nold, and she's a tremendous player. And so we know that with that program, it's going to be just a great experience to go down there and play, and we're going to learn a lot about ourselves. And if we're going to jump in, we might as well jump in with both feet, I guess, huh, Joey?
Absolutely. It should be fun for everyone to watch, Coach.
Yeah, and then our first home match is St. Cloud State, who for most of the season last year was number 2 in the country. And we've had a chance to scrimmage them in the past, and man, I always say salty group, because when I grew up, salty was a compliment, but apparently it's not anymore. So I'm trying to figure out a better word to say. But man, they're such a great program, and so our fans up here will get to experience right off what it means to be a volleyball powerhouse in the NSIC, and we're looking forward to that as well. And as I shared before, is we're not eligible for postseason this next year, and we have 1 senior, and so we really are looking at this as kind of an exhibition season. We're getting our feet wet. We're trying to figure out the lay of the land and figure out the ropes in this conference, and move forward. And we know that it's when I got to Jamestown here at the NAIA, we knew we wanted to compete at the top of the NAIA, and I just threw out, it's going to take us 10 years, so that was 2009, and 2019 we were in the Final Four, and so it kind of played out that way. And we just have to be patient. My assistants always think I'm a little too patient with a lot of things, but there's so many things that are out of our control that why worry about those things? Let's just control our attitude and control the way we treat each other and control, who we're giving glory to, and try to do that on a daily basis. And we just want people to enjoy playing us because of the way we play and the spirit that we play with. And if we can do that and create a good experience for our players and the other team, then we're moving forward. But part of that is we're trying to get over that bar, and that bar certainly has been set high.
Well, Coach, I congratulate you on making the effort to get to that point, to try to make it over that bar, and the program under your leadership has been fantastic to watch. I just appreciate it as much as anything, and I'm very thankful that you took time with us today here on Midwest Sportsnet to talk about that. Coach Jon Hegerle with the Jamestown Jimmies, moving to Division II. We will follow you, Coach, along the way, and we look forward to hopefully getting to visit again soon. But over the course of this first season at that different level, success to you all, and work hard, and it should be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. It's always just a pleasure and a privilege to be on your show. We always get to talk about the most important stuff, and we always you do a nice job of covering small collegiate sports, and so we really appreciate what you do.